Yes, hello, good evening, everybody. Good evening, good morning, depending on where you're logging in from. My name is Sam or Samrack of Samrack Media. Tonight, we are privileged to have our first guest speaker for this season, Mr. Harrison Maina, popularly known as Ajabu Africa. Karibuni sana. I know there are other hot topics you guys would have loved us to discuss. BBI, the first Chief Justice, first woman Chief Justice in Africa, among many other topics. But tonight, we'll solely talk about Harrison Maina and also the corona pandemic or the COVID-19 pandemic. And karibuni sana. Welcome everybody. This is a recorded session. I hope you guys will learn one or two things. Now, once again, Harrison, welcome, feel at home. I believe all is well. The first question, Harrison, who is Harrison Maina, Ajabu Africa? Who's Harrison?
That's me. Basically, I'm the one. Thank you, Sam, for welcoming me to this discussion. It's an honor to actually sit here with you guys and have a candid conversation about ourselves and how we are experiencing this life here. So Harrison, basically, I would say that's me, Harrison Maina. I've been here in the diaspora for about 22 years now in Boston. And yeah, I've been a member of this community for 22 years.
Very good. I must add that you've done quite a lot for the community. You've helped quite a number of guys with their immigration issues, with their wedding fundraiser, church planting. I used to see your flyers quite a lot a while ago, plus many other things, including the Boston Marathon, the Boston Marathon bombing. You covered it very well. Where were you that day? Can you describe that day, the Boston Marathon bombing? Where were you?
Oh, actually, that was a very memorable day in my life because we were literally at the spot where the bomb happened. We had left that spot with probably 5 minutes prior, 5 to 10 minutes prior to the bomb going off. We were at the finishing line right there. And you know what happens is that usually the Kenyan runners come and pass very quickly, right within the allotted time. They are very quick, they are very fast. So the moment all the Kenyan runners pass from about number 1 to 10, they are done with the finishing line. We would always leave the area and go to a restaurant down the street. And so what happened is that as soon as we settled down in that restaurant, we placed our orders and the servers were now preparing to serve us with the food. They had placed the food for a few Kenyans there. And then all of a sudden we had the blast and the cops came rushing in and they just said everybody needs to leave immediately. So those guys who had already ate the food, they just left without paying. Some of us had not even eaten anything. So we just had to come out and just run for our lives. And we went, people left. But I decided, me and Madege decided we are not going to leave. We're just going to walk around and see what's happening and take some pictures. And we covered the whole thing.
Wow. Yeah, that was a very sad event. Personally, I used to attend also those marathon events. But that particular day, because of my newborn who was around at home, I had to stay home to take care of her. So I didn't attend the marathon. That's why I can say that's why I'm alive today with God's help, because I didn't attend. But you're very right. The same spot where it happened, that's where the Kenyans gather. We sing all those patriotic songs. We hang our flags and that kind of thing. The first question today is, are you vaccinated with the whole coronavirus going on? Are you vaccinated and where did you get the vaccine?
Definitely. I'm vaccinated and I got vaccinated actually back in early February. I got my vaccination at the Massey Medical Center in Springfield because that's where currently I'm stationed to work. And that's where I got my vaccination.
Did you have any side effects from the vaccination?
No, the interesting thing is I got the Pfizer vaccine, and the first shot which was like early January, maybe January 5. The first shot was okay, nothing. I didn't feel anything. But with the second shot, which happened around 2 weeks later, I think it was February 22nd. That one, I had a little bit of side effects. And the side effects were just feeling a lot tired, some minor body aches here and there. So I had to take Tylenol and went to bed after, even before dinner. I slept in for like 8 hours. And when I got up the next morning, I was totally fine. So the side effect for me was just like getting tired and some exhaustion.
Very good. What made you get the vaccine?
Well, first of all, the reason I got this vaccine was for my own benefit. Really, because I work with people. I work with the kids from different areas. I work with the parents. I work with so many different people that we interact with. And the nature of my work, which is like my main work other than the Ajabu work, is that I have to interact in close quarters with so many people. And so I felt that the infection rate among these people was very high, and there was the only one protection for me to get to protect myself, which was getting vaccinated, because I believed in vaccines and I believe in science. So I decided, well, if I take this, maybe it will protect me, which is much better than the side effects I would have experienced if I did not take it.
Very good. Let me first commend our Kenyan community. They've really gone out there to get the vaccinations. Actually, when you look at the leading African countries, we are among the top leading African countries to get vaccinated here in Massachusetts, but also some African countries are really lagging behind. So pulling the Black community really behind. So I'm very proud of our Kenyan counterparts. My advice to the ones who haven't gotten, there are places out there where you can get the vaccine. We'll name them later. Please look for a place and get vaccinated. My other question is, what advice do you have for our community members that may be hesitant to get the vaccine?
Well, Sam, really, what I would say to most people, because I come across a lot of people who are hesitant to take this vaccine. They are afraid. They have various reasons, and most of them, they are like, oh well. What I hear most is that they are not so sure about the effectiveness of this vaccine. They are coming from a point of view where they are coming with information from many sources, especially in social media, that is kind of negative or dissuading them from taking the vaccine. So for most of these people, what I usually tell them is that think about it. Think about whether when you get sick, you take any medication. Think about whether you have ever taken Tylenol. Think about when you had a flu, serious flu, whether you took Tylenol, cold medicine, if you had malaria, if you have diabetes, heart problems, whatever disease that may be affecting you in your body. Have you ever taken medication? And the answer mostly is yes. The reason we take medication, and the reason you take this medication is because you trust in the medication. You trust that the science that was there to create those medications is the same science that has been used to create the vaccine. And I'll take you a step backwards in terms of where we come from Kenya. Back in the day, in around 1960, 53, there was a serious debate among people whether they're going to take the polio vaccination, whether they were going to take the tetanus vaccination. And it happens that some parents did not bring their kids to be vaccinated. And the consequences were dramatic. The consequences were that some of the kids who never got vaccinated ended up either dying or they ended up having deformities in their limbs and other diseases. Some of them are still living in today. I have two of them in my village who I know personally who walk with a limp because their parents did not bring them to be vaccinated against polio. And the same argument that was happening 50 years ago, actually almost 60 years ago, is the same argument that is happening right now in our community in 2021, that, oh, this vaccination is gonna affect you. They are gonna put some microchips in the vaccine to control you, or it has been made too fast, nobody knows about it. But what I can tell you is that is fear mongering. This vaccine was not made so fast. The research behind the vaccine, the RNA vaccines that has been used to make the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines, this has been researched for over 10 years. It's only that this time that they found out, okay, we've been researching on this, and now here we have a virus. This is going to be very effective towards this virus. And that's how they re-engineered it towards to create the effective COVID vaccine. So that is really good. And I think hopefully most people will start admitting that science is good. God gave us the science. I believe some of you who are preachers, some of you are a preacher. There was this apostle who used to be a doctor. Was it Mark?
Luke.
Luke
Yeah.
was a doctor. And he was an apostle of God. So Luke would make medication for people. And so the same God who created Luke and gave Luke the knowledge to create medication for people is the same God who has given some scientists today the knowledge and the skills to create the COVID vaccine. So let's use this vaccine to our advantage. People who are not using the vaccine, some of them are getting affected negatively. Some are losing their lives. Some are having long life negative consequences to them. We don't need that. We need to come back to our normal life. We need to believe in science and just don't let fear overcome you. Fear is dangerous.
Very good answer, Harrison. How easy was it to schedule your appointment?
It was absolutely so easy. I did that within maybe 2 to 3 minutes. I looked it up. On Google. You just Google COVID vaccinations near me. It'll come up. It'll give you options. And the best options there is like, instead of going through CVS and other outlets, for me, I scheduled it through the state website, the Department of Health, because once you Google COVID vaccination sites near me, it'll give you a link from the Massachusetts Department of Health Services. And from that link, you want to put in your zip code. Once you put in your zip code, it'll give you options for all these places where you can get the vaccine. So it was pretty easy. You just schedule it. And now it's even easier. You can go to your local Walgreens or CVS and you can get it because now it's open to everyone.
Exactly. And then I think as at tomorrow, from tomorrow, vaccination, a Pfizer vaccination will be offered from 12 years and older. How are you guys planning to encourage the community, the teens, to start getting the vaccination? Have you heard of anything going on out there to encourage these youngsters to get the vaccination?
I haven't heard, if I may speak first before other people go also kind of weigh in, I haven't heard any drive going on about that, but other than individual parents probably hoping to bring their kids to be vaccinated or asking them to be vaccinated. My only concern is that a bunch of parents are not sure whether they want to get their kids vaccinated. And we have this resistance of vaccinations from some parents. And to be quite honest, some parents, either they are for lack of information or for just serious fear, they think that this is going to affect their kids negatively. And I haven't had any kid who have been negatively affected, but I think people should do it. Just encourage your teenagers to go get vaccinated.
And someone just wrote on the text, there's a youth vaccination campaign out there, but not much details has been given. The other question, Harrison, is what barriers are our community members facing in this period of COVID? What barriers are our community members facing in this period of COVID?
Do you mean what kind of barriers? Do you mean barriers to the vaccinations or do you mean barriers to normal life?
Vaccination, normal life during this period.
I think the biggest barrier people are facing regarding the vaccinations and the pandemic is the mental barrier in terms of like, do I take it? Do I not take it? Is this going to affect me? You know, like most of what's going on in the community, you'll be shocked because some people will even tell you, if you get vaccinated, you will never have a baby. It's going to make you infertile. It's going to affect the child in your body. I think that's the largest and the biggest barrier that is most out there. And the other barriers to us getting these vaccinations is lack of knowledge to where you're gonna get it, which is easy to do because if you're not sure where you can get it, you can walk to a local CVS, just walk there and they'll give it to you. So in terms of the vaccines, that's a big barrier. Misinformation, that's the largest barrier. In terms of local in life, other things of life, the barriers that we are actually facing is that we cannot get to meet each other physically. I don't know the last time I met you one-on-one, really face to face, was over a year ago or close to a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
The whole of 2020, we did not get to meet. Most of us, even those who go to church, when we go to church, we meet very few people. Churches are not in full capacity. We cannot get other regular events going on in full capacity. People are like wearing masks. A mask is a barrier. You know, people don't see each other anymore. I don't know whether you grow some more beard or, you know, like you can tell the changes that have happened to people. So those are the barriers we are facing right now. And also finally, the economic barrier. Some people have lost their work and they are struggling to make ends meet right now. So it's another barrier economically. And of course, travel. Some are not able to travel. Sometimes you try to travel and you don't get the right kind of vaccine. If you get the rapid test vaccine and you show up at the airport, they'll turn you back. If you show up at the airport trying to go to Kenya with a rapid test vaccine, they turn you back. They don't accept you on the flight. And when you also get to Kenya, you are also needed and required to have filled in a QR code. And if you are not aware of that, they'll turn you back or they'll hold you there. So there's so many barriers right now, honestly speaking.
Very good. What has COVID-19 taught you?
It has taught me that life is very fragile, that life is a question of making the right choices. And if you make the wrong choices, one wrong move can make you lose your life. It's true, we don't know when God has planned for you to go back and be with him. But at the same time, you don't need to speed that up. You want to try and stay around for as long as you can. So one way to speed that up is to just ignore that the virus cannot affect you. Because really, this is a new disease. Nobody knows exactly how that virus will react to the body. And your body might be the body that is not capable of fighting that virus like other people. Some bodies can take it. Like some of the people just get a slight flu, slight fever. Others are completely affected negatively. I know this one guy, he didn't die, but he was condemned to living, like long life in a vegetative state, in a way that they require help in bed on a wheelchair forever. And they're training the family to be able to take care of him. So this is a challenge, and the COVID situation is really something that people have to really figure that it's a life or death situation. You can be selected, you can make yourself die easily or get affected or affect your people, and you don't want to live with a guilty conscience that you brought that to your mom or your dad, especially if they have some conditions. Best thing is to protect yourself.
Correct. Any words of advice to our African men in general in regards to healthcare? What advice do you have for African men in general towards in regards to healthcare?
To talk more to each other. You know, men, we don't talk to each other a lot like women do. And men tend to like hide things. Men tend to like hide their information within themselves. They don't want to talk. If you feel like you have something hurting in your body, you first of all feel like you want to fight it before you tell anybody or before you share with anyone that, oh, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that way. And sometimes that ends up being very expensive because it can cost you a life. If you talk to someone about what you're feeling, if you're feeling something in your body is not really going right, because you're scared of going to the doctor. A lot of men are scared of doctors. You know, like men are strong, supposed to be strong, but when it comes to healthcare, men are scared going to the doctor because the doctor might come back with negative information, which they may not be able to handle. So the best thing is just talk to your friend. We don't want to talk to each other. We don't want to talk to other men. And I don't know why. That's something that we can study and think about more. But if you talk to people, they'll tell you their experiences and they'll tell you, oh, I know this and that, or they have had somebody else with that condition. And this is what they did. That's the first step you do. Because if you don't, for example, I'll say something like colon cancer, it affects so many men negatively, especially in the Black community, because they are not aware that if you talk to people and then you go and see your doctor, if you have a polyp in your colon, that polyp takes about 10 years to grow. And when it takes about 10 years to grow without being removed, it can now develop into colon cancer, which may now be too late to help you. But if it's removed before it's too long, if that polyp, you go get a colonoscopy and the surgery is done, that polyp will be taken off and you can avoid colon cancer for your life. But when you're scared to go for a colonoscopy, especially when you reach the age of 40 and above, when you're scared of that and you don't talk to other men who have already went there, then you live like that and it's gonna be a problem. You never know. So best thing is to talk and then go get checked out.
Very good. The other question is, describe 2020 in your own words and why.
Oh man, 2020, in my own words, I would say it was the most difficult year in human history. Basically in the recent human history, since I was born myself. I have never experienced any year like this. This is like, I consider this like a lost year. But in one way, it was good to me. In the other way, it was not so good to me. So in 2020, for me, it started with on the right path. I had made these many New Year resolutions that I'm, gonna follow through with. I know that was in January 2020. I was so fired up, following through with my resolutions, only to figure out that by February, end of February, things turned around completely. I was in school. That was my final year in grad school. I was looking forward to graduate in May, do that commencement work, something I've always wanted to do. But then COVID hit. We were all emptied from our classes. We went back, full time on Zoom. That's how we finished our school in Zoom. The graduation was postponed to this year. And then it was postponed. We thought that we would do the commencement work in 2021. But then again, things were not changing. So they at the same time canceled even that commencement work. So I never worked, but I thank God that I was able to graduate in the year 2020. But also it was also a year where I did not get to see a lot of friends. And I also had to, see some of people that I know were negatively affected by COVID. So yeah, that's me who graduated recently from Regis College just last Saturday. It was a tough year for me, but I thank God that He made it through for me, and I'm still around, and I appreciate everything. And I also appreciate that I had friends who are also supporting me in different ways. I had issues going on in my own personal life, a domestic life and all that. So it was a tough year, mixed blessings, good and bad. All is good.
Congratulations on your graduation. Looking forward to that barbecue invitation. Will come.
Yeah, it's gonna happen on. I'm inviting everyone on June 12th. June 12th from 6 p.m. in Melrose. There's a hall that is called the Palace Hall there in Melrose. Inviting all my friends. All of you are welcome. We're just gonna have a good time. Nyama choma, fish, ugali, some drinks, some dancing, and I'm pretty sure that the COVID protocols will be like in place, and also most people have now been vaccinated, and we are gonna have a good time. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
What do you miss most about the pre-pandemic period? What do you miss most in the pre-pandemic period?
I miss going out and taking pictures of people, covering events, going out there, like with Ajabu, we started Ajabu like around 2006. And before Ajabu, if you remember, we had this, I had this website that was called EA United, when we used to go out and play soccer and other games out there in the island. So those social interactions are the ones that I miss most. I miss hanging out with people, making them happy, them making me happy, taking photos, all that. That social interaction, I find that in human life, it is so important to have a social connection and social interaction, because man is a social being. And if there's anything we have learned with the COVID is that we cannot do without each other. And so I would wish that we just come together, solve our differences, like figure out, really, when we are always arguing or fighting against each other, we are wasting our time because time is limited. Let's get together and do things.
Oh, very good. The other question is, what have you had in regards to the vaccination? What are people talking? What are people saying behind the scenes in regards to the vaccinations?
Number one, it's very politicized. Most people who are conservatives, they are afraid, they just don't want to take the vaccine because of their political inclinations. And that is one of the saddest part of this whole saga, is that the politics have gotten in the way of healthcare. And I can hear some people talking about, like the conspiracy theories that the vaccine or the virus was manufactured to eliminate some people. The virus was made so that some people can be more superior than the others, or affect some races. So the politics is just way too much, and there's nothing we can do about this politics except for you keep talking to people, but don't argue. What I realize is that if you talk about facts, facts will help you. But with politics in the way, that's a problem. But basically, that's what's going on. Mostly with the vaccine is so much misinformation, and with the COVID, there's so much misinformation.
Very good. Harrison, what keeps you awake at night?
Oh man, like what? Not many things keep me awake at night, except for trying to think of what keeps me awake at night is how we can, as Kenyan community, how we will and when we will ever come together and use our power that we have here in America. Sometimes I think about that late in the night because I have seen and I experience and I interact with other communities, and I've seen what they have already gotten for their own people. And I have children here who are teenagers, and I can see that we do not have a structure set for these teenagers. We are getting older. So that's the only thing that mostly bothers me so much, except for other personal challenges. That's the only thing that bothers me so much, that can we turn the page somehow and use the power that we do have here in this country for the benefit of us and our future generations. And I think it's possible.
Very good. During the corona or the COVID-19 pandemic, we were being encouraged to write a journal. If I was to look into your journal, what is written in your journal? 2020.
What surprised me is that I went to Kenya. That's something that I noted in my journal. I went to Kenya last year, early this year, and what I found is that most people in Kenya, I was shocked that they didn't care about COVID, and it felt like life is normal over there. So the difference between what was happening in Kenya and what I was experiencing in America, that's something you would find in the journal for me. The second one is like some people literally denying that there's COVID and then literally going into a party that without a mask and getting sick and ending losing their lives. So still to this day, I cannot bring those two things together. Why you would put yourself into risk, such a risk, and then you would lose your life as a result.
Wow, interesting. We'd like to send our sincere condolences to the people who have lost their loved ones during this pandemic. Things were thick. And also it was a wake-up call just to realize, if you have underlying condition like diabetes, hypertension, overweight, obesity, and other factors, that they could play a factor into you being hospitalized or making your situation worse, your COVID-19 or virus situation worse. So most important is to keep in shape, try to get a life insurance to protect not only yourself, but your family and the people you love most. And also to take care of your health, make sure you're going for your annual physical. Make sure you get vaccinated if you've not been vaccinated. I was surprised a couple of days ago when I realized a couple of my healthcare workers, nurses, have still, people who experienced death of their loved ones, of their clients, right in the bed, have not gotten the vaccination. They could be having different reasons, clots and other things that they're afraid of. But I think getting that vaccination is key. And I'd really want to thank you for joining us, our very first interview. I'm sure there's going to be another one. This one was just an introductory. The other one will be a bit more detailed. My last question to you, Harrison, is you've organized so many events. What event can you say this one, like you really loved organizing it, or it brought joy to your life, or it affected people one way or another? What event can you remember that you organized or you planned that will take time to get out of your mind?
I think there's three events that I can talk about. Number one, the Boston Marathon. I love organizing the Boston Marathon from the streets, because we would bring so many Kenyans that we really enjoy ourselves as Kenyans in Boston. There's only one day that the whole world out there in Boston would look at Kenyans in a positive way and they would admire us. So we organized so many of those lunches there on Boylston Street. So we really had a good time with those events. I miss them. I wish we can come back to them so quickly. The other event I would remember very well was when we organized the launching of the New England Kenyan Welfare Association, when we had this deputy governor, can't remember his name. He was deputy to Deval Patrick. I think you remember that guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was it Tim Murray?
Tim
Murray or something like
Tim
that.
Murray, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was sent over by the governor, Deval Patrick, because the governor was unable to attend the event. So that kind of also an event that I look back and I see that was great that we had such a high-ranking government official coming to recognize us as a Kenyan community and pledging that they're going to work with us and help us get things done. And the other one was when we organized the ID and passport drive in Lowell with the Kenyan Embassy as a Boston Kenyan festival, and they attended that, and people got their IDs. We got some traditional songs going, and so the Kenyan culture, I was happy to just see people feeling that was a good thing or a good day for them.
Oh, very good. At this point, I think I'm going to open one or two questions from the public, and then we can pick it up from there. Unless you have anything you want to say, closing remarks, Mr. Harrison?
No, my closing remarks would be like, I don't know if, I don't know how many of you know that I have like a fundraiser on Sunday. I don't see my sister here. Is Nina here? She's not. But my only closing remarks would be like, life is good. Let's celebrate life. I'm happy that we are having this conversation with Sam. Sam, I've known Sam for as long as I've been in this country. I remember when he used to go, was it Hosanna Church?
Hosanna, correct, yeah.
That was maybe 2002 or 2001. Very, very long time ago, 20 years ago, really. So I'm very happy that we've come this far and we are still around and that we can be able to organize and have a conversation together. I would hope that we can continue doing this in many ways and hope that we can continue bringing our people together. We can show our children that, hey, Kenyans can come together and do things together instead of like the usual divisions that we experiencing. Because when we teach our children these divisions, the only thing that they're gonna do, they're gonna continue with those divisions. So because man learns from the history they're coming from. If you're coming from the history of fighting, then you're gonna continue that into your future. So hopefully we can continue doing this. And the other thing I would say before I close is that I'm inviting people who are here, the friends who are here. I have a fundraiser on Sunday. I have a small legal issue that affected me negatively through my business and my work in the New England Kenyan Association. So there's this issue that I'm raising funds for. You know, we have always found experienced challenges here through the justice system. And that's something that I'm trying to make sure that we can address some of our issues as a community in the right way. So I have this fundraiser on Sunday at 6 p.m. It's going to be on Zoom. So I'm just requesting whoever is out there, you can support with whatever small amount you can. And then we can see how we can leave everything to God, and God will be able to deliver the victory for me and basically for us. That's what I would just say.
Very good. Once again, congratulations on your graduation. I saw it's Masters in Masters of Science in Behavioral.
Applied.
Applied. Exactly. Tell us a little bit more about that degree.
Well, this is basically it's a degree to become a behavior analyst. So in behavior analysis, you can decide whether to go into technology, create programming for technology companies such as Alexa. I'm sure you guys know Alexa on Google. You know Siri. That's a kind of programming you can do with behavior analysis. You can also use behavior analysis to program for autism, treatment of autism, and stuff like that, or special education. So it's a field that can be applied widely. You just apply principles of human behavior to solve some problems in society.
How different is it?
I'm just focusing on autism right now.
How different is it from BCBA?
No, it's not different. I am a BCBA right now.
Oh, okay, wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not different from.
Some of us don't know those terms, BCA.
Oh, it's BCBA. Oh, it's a board certified behavior analyst. It's just you get a license from the state.
So are you practicing now like a behavioral analyst? Do you already have a job actually?
Yeah, I do have a job. I'm working as a behavior analyst right now.
Congratulations. Huh?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and we welcome questions. Any questions before we move over to the other agenda? And we're going to have a follow-up, Harrison, meeting, but we'll announce it and make sure everybody knows about it.
Yeah, one thing I can say also on that, because you asked me the question about behavior analysis, I know we in our community, we have parents who are facing challenges with their children who are autistic, or they're struggling how to navigate through the condition. So I'm open to helping anyone who may not know how to go around the system, how to help them with their child, figure out things that they can do to make their life better and more, more rewarding for these children. So if you know any child or any parent who has children who are not getting services right now, or their services are not really making them feel like they're making any progress in terms of where their kids were and where they are now, you can let me know, and I'll be more than glad to help, see what we can do to help.
Very good. I think it's also a good idea to have a WhatsApp group or Telegram group where, people post resources, because assume if someone benefited from, let's say the government with certain services, and there's a new parent who'd want or who'd benefit from such services, if they are in a WhatsApp group, specifically in those areas, I think they'll benefit by people sharing different information. Because, for example, I could be having some information, you have some resources, someone else, once we share it, the future generations or the future parents that are coming in will not have to go through what other parents went through. So I believe we also have a challenge to set up like a one-stop networking avenue where people or parents can be able to reach out for these resources, because I believe the resources are there. It's only that we are a little bit selfish sharing that information, but that information is out there. Those services are out there. And what I know about these services is early intervention is key. And sometimes we're getting in a little bit late, the African community, but it's never too late to begin something.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I've come across some parents who said, "I wish I knew this," and you know, like this is something that I would like to kind of like really help our people understand and educate them about. This I wish I knew that I could have had services when my kid was 1 year, 1.5 years old, because they just didn't know and they didn't know how to navigate through. And then maybe they are now getting diagnosed at 5 years, which is a little bit too late to help that child progress better. But the earlier the intervention is done, the more the chances that the child will recover from autism. We've had some success in recovery, but then it has to start very early. And that's basically what I did in school. That's what I'm doing right now. And I'm practicing that right now. There's a lot that you cannot share due to the sensitivity of the matter, but you know, you cannot share on an open platform, but there's a lot that we can do to help people, and especially the education part of it, so that they can know what to do, because it works. And I also thank people who were here who donated the toys. Some, I remember you also donated some money towards the toys drive for the autism project we have in Kenya. I received toys and funds for about $10,000 worth of toys and books and money. And we were supposed to go there in 2020 summer, but we could not go because of COVID. It hit. So we are hoping that sooner or later, everything will open up and we'll ship the toys to Kenya. They're still in my office, and then we'll ship them, and then we'll go and help create those programs. Because in Kenya too, we're having a serious problem with autism, and there's a lot for the people there to help.
Anything on alcoholism and depression that you want to chip in or mention?
Sam, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, glad you guys, because you're still on autism. So glad, Harrison, you're bringing that up, because our Kenyan community, there's that, what would I call it? A lot of people have this thing that they don't want to let their children be out there because they feel that they're going to be judged. There's a lot of autism cases. My daughter is autistic, and we do run an autism group here for, right now it's just mamas signing up. A lot of dads want to join, but I think mamas feel a little bit, you know, uncomfortable still. So autism is an uncomfortable topic that we need to make comfortable. I'm so glad you brought it up, but I think our community needs to talk about it, and we need to take that stigma that's there, because there's nothing wrong with these kiddos. They are some of the sweetest little kids that you can ever see. It's just that there's no understanding for it. And so the fact that you guys are bringing up the topic, the fact that you guys are bringing up resources, these are things that we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosalind. Appreciate.
Yeah, can I make a comment to Rosalind there? Sam?
Yeah, just go ahead. Thank you, Harrison.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Rosalind did that. What Rosalind said is absolutely true. There is a lot of stigma associated with autism, and a lot of parents think, especially the African parents, they think that there was something wrong with them. And also, we can't blame them, because this is what they've heard from other people out there. Like I just said, most of our behavior is shaped by our learning history. People hear that if your child is autistic, you are the one as a mother, especially they try to blame the mothers, that you, the mother, you are the one who caused this, or you are cursed by God for some sins done by your generations down the road, or your forefathers, which is hardly the truth. So we've researched autism for a long, long time, and we know exactly what some of the things that contribute towards autism, and the parents are not to blame, 100% not to blame, but people don't know this. And the stigma comes in where people feel like I'm guilty as a parent. And then the society also thinks that something is really wrong with your child. And I tell you, the kids with autism, they are some of the sweetest, smartest people out there. I deal with the kids who are autistic from 1.5 years to 22 years old. Some of my kids who are like 12, 15 years, they are smarter in some ways, they are smarter than me in some things. I'll tell you one example, like the chess game, which is a game of strategy. Most people cannot play chess, but some people who are autistic can beat you in chess. And they beat me big time. I try and try when we set up a game and they beat me over and over and I get mad about it. But, I'm just telling you that some of these kids, most of them, if you get the right information, the right intervention on time, they tend to live a normal life like other people, and they are accepted in the general community. And some of them have actually went on to graduate from college. So it's really not a disease that should be make people be scared or move away from others or hide at home. But the information is what is key, and we are ready to just share with anyone who is willing to listen.
Thank you. And Rosalind mentioned there's a group for women that mamas, get together and share all these resources.
I would love to talk to them.
Is there a group for men? That's a challenge we have here, so that fathers with autistic children, that can be a haven, where people just come and share their concern. And that can be also a good way to break the barriers for other people, for other dads in the community. And but believe me, the resources are there. What I even know is, I think if your child is between 0 and is it 4 years, like the government offers free services. They even come to your house.
0 and 3 years.
0 and 3 years. There are companies out there who send nurses or whoever they are to your homes, to your offices. And actually, there's a parent who brought up an issue with me. In your churches, the music is too loud for the kids. There's no a particular place where kids can just go and play games and that kind of thing. So even as we develop as a community, it's very good to realize that we have all this. Everybody is different. We all have this. We need to think about everybody and not just ourselves. We need to be more accommodative. And trust me, when we speak about it, people feel a little bit more accommodative or less judged. So it's a very good thing we continue talking about it. My other question is, any closing remarks on depression and alcoholism in the community?
Yeah, that's the other problem we do have. It's a major problem. Myself, I'm unable to comprehend why the crisis is so big and deep, because I know it's only that I have not had time also to write about some of, bring some of these issues to the community so that we can deal with them. But it's the problem is high, it's extensive, it's huge. We do have a lot of Kenyans who are right now homeless. They're struggling with alcohol, drugs, depression, and it's for various reasons that contribute to this. And a lot of consequences have happened to some of them who never got help. We know some people who have died, some people who have committed suicide. We can't name names, but the reality is the reality. It's there, it's happening. It has affected us negatively, so bad. I've had friends who've died because of that. And I also have friends who are currently struggling through that. Some of the cases are not even reported because there are so many. It's impossible to keep reporting these things because we do not have the resources to keep up. But what I can say is that when I talk to some of these people who are struggling with depression and alcoholism, most of their problems started from their domestic arrangements at home. Sometimes arguments at home between spouses can lead to these problems of depression and alcohol. Some people are kicked out of the house if, for example, one spouse calls the police on the other spouse and then they are kicked out, they are arrested, they go to jail, and then they come out on bond, and then they cannot go back to their house. They start living in their car. So right there, you start living and sleeping in your car, then you're starting to be depressed. So it goes and goes and goes on, and then you find that there's a whole bunch of people who are into that mess. In Lowell, I know a group of about 50 people who are homeless, and they're depending on the state for food. In Worcester, there's another big group. There's a big place where Kenyans do go to congregate who are homeless. And in Lynn too, we have a bunch of them. So it's a huge problem. I think we should be able to figure out a way as a community to come together and address these things. And what you said, Sam, is that mostly we think about ourselves. We don't think about our children. Many of these people who are getting depressed are our children. Majority of them, the youth, are the ones that are going through this. There is even youth right now who are in long-term care facilities that they cannot never recover from effects of alcohol and drugs. It's a very sad picture, and we have let them down. We have let our children down. We have thought about too much about ourselves only. We have fought so much, and we have forgotten our children. So I hope we can come together and figure out a way to address the issue.
Thank you, Harrison. And once again, there are resources out there. You only have to look for them. Nina, are you there? If we don't have any other questions.
If anyone has a question, they can ask right now before Nina speaks.
Yep. Any questions? You covered the COVID very well. Myself, I got the Moderna shot sometime in March, and the second shot was the one that gave me a problem. I had to stay in for 1 or 2 days at home, but I'd encourage everybody to go out for your vaccination. There are places out there available: CVS, Walgreens. I know Lower General Hospital, they have a tent outside that it's a walk-in. I know Lowell Healthcare Center is also a walk-in. And the goal here is to encourage our youngsters, our teenagers to go out there and get that vaccination. And I always like when I see that picture of you and the nurse getting the shot. I believe a time will come when all this will be behind us. And it would be good to look at those pictures of us wearing masks, of us getting vaccinated, and that kind of thing, yeah.
Maybe I could ask other people to tell us about their experiences with the vaccine. If someone has been vaccinated and is here, they can tell us about their experience.
Yep. Oh, Julia?
Yes. So I live in Worcester, and I go to school in Quincy-Gammon. We had a chance, actually a very good opportunity as nursing students. The very beginning of the vaccination, they gave us the chance. They actually asked us if we wanted to get vaccinated. My first vaccine was December 21st, and I got my last one in January 11th. So the second one, I would say I got a reaction to it. My muscles tensed for a week, but then it wasn't bad that I couldn't work. That I had never gotten that bad reaction with muscle tensing, but that's about it. But I would love to encourage everybody to get it.
Very good. Nate, are you there?
Yes, Sam, this is Nate, MC.
Welcome.
So yeah, thank you, Harrison. It was nice hearing from you. This is Mercy. from Lowell Community Health Center. I live in Lowell. I got my vaccine actually on December 24th. Moderna as well. I was one of those people that personally I felt that I had to just do what I tell people to do. So right away when my opportunity came, I got my first shot. And then on January 21st, I got the second one. First one, just a little, very sore arm. Then the second one, a little bit queasy, not too bad. But I would say that when the second shot gives you a little more side effects, that means your body is doing what it's supposed to do to fight those antibodies that it's recognizing from the previous dose.
Mhm.
So your body is actually doing what it's supposed to do. So feeling those second effects being a bit stronger is a good sign that your body is doing what it's supposed to do. And thank you so much, Harrison, for what you're doing to Pamoja.
Oh, thanks a lot. I didn't even know about that. So when you have that second shot and you feel that, that's a good thing. Perfect. Nice to know that. Thank you, Marcy.
You're very welcome.
Any other questions out there?
Me, I do have a question.
Yes.
Does anyone understand why the majority of the people in our community who are not vaccinated tend to be in healthcare, like nurses? Can Marcy, maybe Marcy and Sam, I know you guys are nurses. Do you understand why? Can you like answer that question for me?
Okay. Mercy, go first, then I can come in later.
You know, first of all, thank you, Maina, for thinking I'm a nurse. I'm not. But
oh, you work in the healthcare industry?
Yes, I'm healthcare. So generally speaking, I think, at least in the community that I work with, I mean, in community health centers, generally we are actually very receptive. And I've not seen a lot of resistance throughout the health center. We have about 400 employees. I would say 380, more than 85% of us have been vaccinated right away. And I believe we are close to 90%. So at the health center, we don't have that much of a resistance. However, I'm seeing in the community a little bit of hesitancy, and I don't know why. I'm not in the outside nursing field, so maybe I'll let others speak. Generally, most of my friends that I know have been vaccinated. That being said, I have one or two friends that surprise me that they don't want to get vaccinated. And I always remind people that for those who have immigrated here, or when you came from Kenya, especially if you've ever applied for your citizenship or green card, I will tell you, most people don't even question the vaccine that they're being asked to get so that they can get their green card. When we were in little, we got all our vaccines. Our parents were very strict on how they made sure we got all the vaccines. Nobody questioned them. When you get a prescription, I don't see us looking to see all those written small fonts. So it really surprises me that we are questioning something that has been studied so well. The mRNA vaccines are not new. Actually, they've been here for over 30 years. We just need to realize that a lot of money was fronted by the federal government to make the vaccines available quickly. Like it was more of a loan. Let's put it, the government realized that this is a pandemic, that it's affecting everybody. We cannot waste time in research and not research. We cannot waste time to give it a long period of time of study. So let's hurry up, resource the companies so that they can give the vaccine quickly. So it was not a shortcut at all. mRNAs are not new, and I'm only speaking based on what I know because I'm doing a lot of this COVID education. So I really want to hear from those who haven't gotten vaccinated. What is really the issue? Because vaccines are not new, and we tend not to question any other vaccine except this COVID-19, which is killing people in the millions. It's quite unfortunate.
Thank you, Marcy. To answer that question, I'm sure there are various answers, but I'd base it on healthcare disparities, especially the African-American community. Initially around, let's say February, March, and I'll give my own example. for me to get the shot, I had to drive all the way to Malden, CVS Malden, to get the Moderna shot. If that shot was being offered in December at my local CVS, I could have gotten it in December or January. But because I had to drive all the way to Malden, some people would prefer to go to work and not miss that shift. Because, you know, driving all the way to Malden, that's almost an hour to get that shot, which is 15 minutes. That means losing a day of wages and income. But right now, the vaccination sites and locations have increased. I can walk down the whatever, my CVS, Walgreens, Lowell Health Center, Lowell General, they're all over. So I believe there's no excuse in terms of location. A while ago, there might have been an excuse, but right now, actually it's a walk-in to get that vaccination. I know there was, I know that we had some media reports, J&J, Johnson & Johnson is not very good. Such controversies, when it comes to vaccination, they're not strange. But right now, I mean, we have Moderna, we have Pfizer, and other vaccinations that are available, and people can get them. And we've not seen a lot of apart from the soreness of the hand, we've not seen a lot of side effects, and whatever has been adverse has been reported to the CDC and the FDA, and it's not that much. It's not really affecting the population. And once you see 12-year-olds and above, and I believe pregnant women with time getting those vaccination, FDA approving them to get the vaccination, that means the shot is good and safe. So I'd encourage everybody to go get it if you haven't gotten it. The other reason I've had is, you know, if someone has like
comorbidities.
Yeah, exactly. Pre-existing conditions. Sometimes someone is, and probably you're using a birth control. Some people have those notions, oh, I might get a clot, too overweight, let me cut down on my weight, let me control my heart condition first before I get the shot. The other reason I had, I think you mentioned it, and actually the age bracket for the healthcare professionals that are resisting the care is the slightly younger, the mid-30s, mid-20s, mid-30s, and that's the age-bearing population. And they want to have a baby, and they're kind of like, if I get it, I might not be able to get a healthy baby. So they still have all those notions, but I'm sure with proper education and teachings, they'll be able to get it. But those are the only things I've had out there in the community. Yeah. Any other questions before we call Nina? And once again, thank you very much, Harrison. I know it's a busy Thursday afternoon. Right now it's dinner time, at the table time. So, you know, I really appreciate your time and effort to join us in this meeting. Nina, are you there, or Mr. Chairman? Nina, are you there? Can she hear me? SPK, are you there?
I am here. Thank you.
I think you can take it over from there.